J.D. Vance is kind of a giant. Still would love to get you on the show, J.D. But he doesn't couch. It's not in his book, as the rumor suggested. What goes on between a man and upholstery is none of my business, but in this case, it just didn't happen. But what is in that book is a much more interesting passage where Vance recalls how at age 8 he thought he might be gay. This really resonated with me because when I was 8, puberty was still a few years off, so I hated girls at 8. They had cooties, and I only wanted to be with boys. Well, that does sound gay.
Rump's tenure as president is comparable to an open mic night where the worst comic in the world won't get off a stage and bill. Maher just arrived with a spotlight and a more incisive tongue than before. Imagine J.D. Vance attempting to behave like a hype man as Trump falters during a performance, only to be roasted to oblivion by someone who truly understands timing. Maher doesn't require a screenplay. Trump provides content every day, using every gaffe as a setup and every outburst as a joke.
Kim Jong-un has state stenographers who follow him everywhere and scribble his genius ideas into their notebooks and applaud. Well, Republicans, that's you now. Republican Congressman Addison McDowell wants to name Dulles Airport after Trump. It'll be like other airports, except the international terminal only has departures.
As though he were the student in the class trying to win over the bully, Bill Maher lashes out at J.D. Vance, nodding in agreement with every ridiculous comment, even when it doesn't make sense. Vance appears more like an unpaid intern carrying water for the worst employer in the world than a senator. However, Maher doesn't spend much time with him. Vance is really a supporting character in this heartbreaking comedy tale. Trump is the true target, since he still views the presidency as a remake of his personal reality show, only this time the stakes are bigger and the ratings are lower.
The most surreal part of the whole night was when I got home. I flew back right after the dinner, and I'm in bed watching 60 Minutes from the night before. And there's Trump in one of their stories. Him in a room that looked to me like one of the rooms and places we'd just been in. And he's ranting, "Disgusting, you're a terrible person." And I'm like, who's that guy? He's got 5 kids, and he's out of his fucking mind. And again, it's 2024, and you're still saying that people who don't marry and raise kids are inferior weirdos? Thanks, Phyllis Schlafly. Let me check my beeper to see if 1993...
Please remember to hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video. Trump is unable to acknowledge that he is the punchline because he is so fixated on being viewed as a genius. Maher portrays him as the person who believes that a roaring audience equates to efficient governance, and that tweeting insults qualifies as legislation. Every rally is more of an ego smorgasbord with applause as the only course, rather than a political gathering. Maher makes fun of Trump's preference for noise over results when gauging success. Similar to how a karaoke performer misinterprets volume for skill, cheers are mistaken for advancement.
There's also a bill in Congress to add Trump to Mount Rushmore because, like Washington, he's a patriot. Like Teddy Roosevelt, he's a renegade. And like Abraham Lincoln, he's not really helping the theater scene in Washington, D.C. City centers, not something I really care a lot about, but I do care that an American president doesn't see anything wrong with him personally taking it over, or that his communications director, Stephen Chung, said it was justified because Trump, quote,
remind Trump of his lengthy history of failures and bankruptcies whenever he attempts to demonstrate his alleged business acumen. The so-called master dealmaker has a history of making things worse for contractors, investors, and even communities. Nevertheless, he manages to persuade others that he is the one who can save America. People are waiting in line for refills, and Maher compares him to a con artist who keeps peddling the same snake oil. Like one of his branded steaks, Trump's economic strategy is as fragile, pricey, unappealing, and quickly disappearing.
EVs. 2 years ago, 71% of Republicans said they would not consider buying an electric car. Trump said they were for, quote, radical left fascists, Marxists, and communists. Now he's selling them on the White House lawn.
Ma is not limited to Trump's financial situation. He examines foreign policy errors, making fun of Trump's arrogant demeanor on the world scene as if it were a Celebrity Apprentice episode. Trump believes that smiling for the cameras and shaking hands are not diplomatic gestures. Ma emphasizes how, rather than forming genuine partnerships, he simplifies intricate global matters to picture shoots and autograph collection. The ridiculousness becomes obvious. While actual diplomats work feverishly behind the scenes to clean up the mess, Trump feels that if he appears tough in front of the cameras, the world will automatically yield to his will.
Republicans dance like Trump now. They name weapons systems after him. They've even dressed like him with the trademark suit and tie. Available exclusively at Banana Republic. Yeah, all these super macho guys eating the ass of another man.
The eager sidekick is portrayed by J.D. Vance. This tale calmly observing Trump from behind like a bobblehead that nods. His political bravery dissipates every time his idol speaks. Ma makes fun of Vance's tendency to follow Trump around in the hopes that being close to chaos will somehow make him relevant. In actuality, it makes him like the person at the company party who bursts out laughing at the boss's crude jokes without understanding that everyone else has already departed. Maher reserves his sharpest quips for Trump's incessant demands to be humiliated. Each choice is examined using the "will people cheer louder for me?" is the query. The self-congratulation never ceases, but the policies disappear into thin air. Ma uses harsh sarcasm when he attacks Trump's environmental position. Trump dismantles safeguards with the fervor of a fireworks display, treating climate research as if it were a personal slight.
So, the biggest threat to America now is not a nuclear-armed Iran or $35 trillion in debt or another leaky lab in China. It's cat ladies. Vance says the country is being run by them. In 2020, he said not having kids makes people more sociopathic and less mentally stable, and the people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids. Have you met your running mate?
His obsession on deregulation as development is criticized by Ma, who notes that even coal. The preoccupation appears to embarrass bosses. The president maintains, as though smog with a scent of achievement, that pollution equates to prosperity. The Mars punchline is obvious. Trump believes that ensuring there is enough gold leaf for his golf carts is the best way to save the environment. Another accessible target is the healthcare industry. Despite his insistence that he has the best intentions, none of them ever come to pass. Maher makes a joke about his health policy being similar to a magician's disappearance. Each time you request more information, the plan disappears. There are no Americans remaining, waiting for an unfulfilled solution. The performance is all smoke and mirrors as Trump boasts about phantom accomplishments, while Ma makes it obvious that the audience is entitled to more than cheap tactics. Trump transforms the immigration issue into a carnival entertainment instead of a serious policy discussion. The humor is self-evident. Trump pretends to be a castle builder rather than a leader because he believes that the complexity of contemporary society will be contained by stone walls.
About our new tariff policy, Commerce Secretary Ludnick said, "These policies are the most important thing America has ever had." Yeah, take that Emancipation Proclamation in Louisiana. And these bills they've introduced to make Trump's birthday a holiday and put him on currency and Mount Rushmore. This is not what we do.
Ma hammers Trump's media fights with ruthless accuracy. The president spends more time defending headlines than dealing with the problems that cause them. Ma likens it to a quarterback pointing the finger at the scoreboard each time he mishandles the ball. The pandemonium is not created by the press. Every day, Trump fabricates it and then accuses others of bias whenever the obvious is reported. Ma mocks the absurdity of a man who causes catastrophes and then screams obscenities when others notice. Another feast for March is the hypocrisy that permeates every action taken by Trump. Trump portrays himself as the outsider opposing the status quo. Despite holding the highest position of authority, He asserts that he is the champion of the underdog while surrounding himself with lobbyists and millionaires who view public service as a networking opportunity. The president appears to spend more time fretting about subpoenas than governing, as probes mount like unpaid bills. Ma envisions the Oval Office functioning as a law office with more lawyers than advisors. The picture is damning and amusing. An administration functions more like a waiting room for defendants than a government.
Okay, this is a crazy, shallow way to make decisions that we all do too much. A new book by David Zweig called In a Caution about the repercussions from keeping the schools closed so long during the pandemic has garnered a lot of attention. And here's the author's takeaway line. The American Academy of Pediatrics were very strongly in favor of getting kids into schools, but as soon as Trump came out in favor of reopening, they completely reversed their...
Ma highlights the sensitivity to Trump's management style by responsibility. He is never at fault for anything. It's always the result of adversaries, detractors, or even fictitious forces working against him. He is like a man who trips over his own feet and then sues the floor, according to Ma. His incapacity to take responsibility for his mistakes turns into a continuous joke, with each denial highlighting his brittle ego. Ma makes fun of Trump's crisis management, saying that each crisis becomes just another self-serving endeavor. Ma also criticizes Trump for constantly using the same catchphrases. He recites lines like a preacher trying to sell salvation by repetition rather than using authority. According to Ma, repeating a sentence doesn't make it real, but Trump uses words like sorcerer spells, thinking that if they are repeated enough, they will become law. The facts are still the same. Promises that aren't kept, a base that acts as though the echo is advancement.
And finally, new rule. Someone has to tell me how Americans can keep becoming more alike, but also hate each other more than ever. I was made to think of this recently when it came to my attention that vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance fucks his couch. Oh, I'm sure you heard it too. It was everywhere. One guy wrote it on Twitter, and immediately half the country was all in. Our hate for each other is so intense. We all just immediately believe anything bad about the other side. I mean, don't get me started on they're eating the dogs, they're eating the dogs, they're coming for the pets, they're eating the dogs.
Because of his steadfast dedication, J.D. Vance is pulled once more. Ridiculed as the eager, the apprentice is floundering without realizing the master he serves. He is portrayed by Ma as the man on the Titanic polishing brass, convinced that everything is a component of a successful plan. His devotion doesn't seem like a sign of strength. It comes out as desperate, serving as a warning that some professions are based solely on clinging to more outspoken individuals. Mark mocks Trump's fixation with changing his own past. He recycles complaints and boasts about fictitious victories rather than constructing new accomplishments. Mark likens it to a cleaned-up athlete watching tapes of their heyday, disregarding the reality that the current season is a total bust. As the aging rock icon insists that the public still cares, the presidency turns into a nostalgic tour of grievances with Trump. This inconsistency also extends to Trump's toughness claims. Although he presents himself as a capable leader, he falters at the slightest hint of criticism. According to Ma, the White House is a revolving door where employees are replaced as soon as they have finished unpacking. Trump is enjoying voting people off the island, making the administration seem less like a cohesive unit and more like a scene from Survivor.